All right, it's ready to start making the bread. I'm gonna make less volume this time because I have a different pan, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So, same mixture, half and half. So we're gonna do 333 of flour, 333 of all-purpose white, unbleached. Okay, I've been beating it up for about 10 minutes now. It's pretty solid already, it feels good. So let it rest for an hour and then we'll get on to our next steps. Everything's coming out okay so far. It's gonna be, this is the longest step typically. It takes the most, because it's the most effort and like the most ingredients aside from the first part. This is looking really nice.
I found this on the web.
Don't care. Okay. I think I put too much salt in it. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Alright, the starter is starting to touch the top. I fed it. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I fed it around 11 last night. So it rose more than half, and it's still rising because it wasn't touching the top about an hour ago. Now it is. I'm going to put in, actually, how much am I going to put in? 250 is what percentage of 730? 34% of 666. Could have about 200 grams of starter. Got at least 6 minutes of mixing, probably about 10. This moisture from the starter is pretty significant. I can already feel it, but it's already starting to hold together pretty well. But I gotta make sure all of this starter is integrated properly. And this thing is mixed together well, so that way it'll rise properly. It is a smaller volume. I think I mentioned that before. I got a new pan, so it's a little bit, the volume is slightly different. It's not necessarily much smaller than the pans I've been using, but it's like a designed, like a bread Dutch oven type pan, but it still makes a loaf. I like the idea of a loaf. I still need to make like a country loaf, like the artisanal round one, but I just keep dragging my feet on that because my regular loaf still works, so I don't want to have to mess with that too much. But I do have a pan. I'd have to figure out a pan to put it in, and then I'm going to cover it. Covering and all that's easy. I just have to find a pan to do it with. Everybody traditionally does it in a Dutch oven, but I've seen people do it in regular baking pans and like pots and pans you eat regular cook stuff in, regular stuff in. So I gotta figure all that out. Maybe coming up, it's the holiday. The other holidays are coming up. The less preferred ones, in my opinion, but. Smooth it out really nice. So you can raise it like that and it doesn't like rip. The gluten is starting to build. It's really good. This is integrated now. So flour, water, starter, salt, all in, all ready. It's 8:17 in the morning. We'll revisit this in about an hour and start with our folds. I decided to start early today just because I have other things. It's Saturday, or we have things we're going to do this evening, so I wanted to get this done and not interfere with other stuff, but usually I try to get it all done in a day. In theory, I could start this in the evening, do these first two parts, actually do the folds too probably, then put it in the fridge, and then the first thing in the morning is take it out and cook it. I still haven't gotten around to doing that either, so for now we wait. All right. I was making a cup of coffee and then I'm like, why do I have this light on? I was like, oh, I'm recording. It's my first time making a video. You have to excuse me. I've never made a YouTube video before. Nice and flat. It's spread out a lot. My hands are nice and wet. Look at this. It's almost window painting, which is like the traditional way you're supposed to check to see if your dough is right. You're supposed to stretch it out, and it's supposed to stretch out really thin and nice. It's feeling the way it should, even though it's not the same percentage. It's a lower percentage. I think I mentioned that before. So I think everything is looking pretty good. Look at that. Nice and strong. Building up that gluten, making it so it's very shapeable, and it'll hold its shape when you shape it. That's the result of all of this folding. So, a little bit tacky, but it's to be expected. It's not a big deal. Nice and jiggly. I noticed, there you go, you can kind of see it in the video. A little bit jiggly. The air is starting to build in it. So that's the first fold. I have 2 more to go, and everything's looking really good. All right, another hour has passed. It's still looking pretty good. See how well it's stretching? Really good stretch this morning. It's nice, it's really jiggly, really nice. So, one more fold after this in an hour, and it's just progressing really nice this morning. So, I'll take it. Took my phone out so I could take a picture, and I forgot to leave it out. Okay. Last fold. It's like 11:20 in the morning, so check this out. Look how much you can stretch before it starts to rip. Don't want it to rip too much, but fold in on itself. It's really tight now, very smooth. So it feels right. Has a lot of air bubbles in it, you can feel them. So, okay, nice and jiggly. Give it a nice little slap. It's good to go. I think the next step is going to be taking it out, shaping it, putting it in the pan to get it to proof. And I think we're right on track with where we should be. If that made any sense. Right on track with where we should be. Doesn't matter. Bread's coming along. So in all of this time, there's been different ways of doing it. I've gotten different pans and I bought different things for it. Now I have a new pan. This is Emile Henry, I'm guessing, because it's French, and Henry is pronounced Henri. Anyway, this is a pan designed for baking bread. So a difference is that this is a little bit taller, but this is a little bit longer. But this comes with a top. This is ceramic with a coating on the inside. With a coating, this has two little holes. It's supposed to help with it rising and everything. So we'll see how that goes. So I have this. It's supposed to be a really nice pan. It's a very good brand, or it's supposed to be at least. So I modified my recipe since it is a little bit smaller. It doesn't really hurt to make it a little bit smaller, because a lot of times I'll have like a slice or two of bread left at the end of the whole thing and it starts to mold and all that and I can't eat it. So if I make a slightly smaller loaf, maybe we can eat the whole thing, which will be fine with me. That's the whole point, right? So go to flour it up like I normally do. Put a nice coating of flour on the bottom and the sides. I like to put my pan on the ground here. On the ground. I like to put it on the ground and throw dirt in. I like to put the pan in front of me so that way I have a reference for length. So I don't make a wide or too wide, too short. So the idea behind all of this is to have the dough looks really good. It's nice and airy and it smells really nice. But the whole point is to make a smaller loaf, and if this pan can make the whole process easier and the bread better, then that's great. I mean, that's the whole point of all of this, right? Let me point this down a little bit. So I have my pan here, have my bread here. It's nice and sticky, so cover it with some flour. I stretch it out. I'm keeping in with these parameters here, so stretch it out. Feels nice and airy. So do the corner stretch. So you have this little lump. Add as much tension in. Don't move towards it. Let the bread stretch and move towards you. If that makes any sense. And then sometimes you get a really pretty loaf. Look at that. Looks real nice. Look how jiggly it is. Nice and jiggly. Got to get a picture for it for Instagram. Okay. Push it down just a hair, but I warmed up the oven. I put the oven on about 35 minutes ago for about 130 for about 15 minutes, and then I'm letting it cool down a little bit. I want it to be warm in there. And the nice thing about this, what you're supposed to be able to do, take your top, cover it, and now I'm going to put it in the oven, not to cook, just out of the way with the light on in a warm environment so it'll proof, and hopefully it'll come out good. So this is ready to go and should take around 2 hours or so to proof. Then we'll move on to baking. Just about 2 hours in. I took this out of the oven. I'm preheating the oven now. Look how much it rose. It's risen really nicely. It's got some air pockets in it. I think it's about right. So let me get my razor blade out. Gonna slice it up a little bit with a razor blade just before I put it in. The oven's probably got about 10 minutes before it's where I need it to be. But wow, this has been pretty nice so far. I don't have to do, it takes a little bit of the work out of it, which is always good for me. So this is sitting out here while we're warming up the oven. I only had about 150 more degrees to go, so not too bad. Yeah, I'm really happy with this, the bread pan so far. So as soon as this gets going, we'll put it in, and I'm excited. Put some marks in this guy. Easy enough. Set a timer for 45 minutes. If this works, I may lower the recipe just a little bit, just to accommodate for space. But then that means I use less material and get the same amount of yield. That's ideal, obviously, right? So 45 minutes, we'll see what it looks like, and I'm pretty hopeful. Okay, let's see what it looks like. I'm gonna take off the top and see what we got. Oh, it lifted up the top. Oh wow. All right. That's weirdly shaped because it lifted up the top, but okay. Looks really good. Let's turn this light on. Set this down. Let's set a timer for 20 minutes. Put another 20 minutes on. Let's take a look. See how big it got? It lifted up the top. The top was lifted by like 1/8 of an inch, but it started just below the rim. It's really tall and nice and even. Looks really good. So about 20 minutes, and it'll be nice and brown, and we'll be done. Is this pan has these holes in it, and I don't know how it works, but it's a pan designed for bread, so I'm assuming they know what they're doing, so it works really well. This bread looks really good. It even cooked evenly. Look at that. I put 4 slits in it. It looks fake. Looks like one of those fake, like a display piece. It's really nice. Let's take it out. Hopefully it'll just pop right out. And it didn't. Oh no. I put flour in it. Oh no. That's not good. Okay, problem. It will not come out. I can't get it. I cut it all around. Actually, Eleni and I have cut and pulled, and I've already cracked it. It's been like 4 hours now, so it's nice and cool. So my idea is just to cut this piece out of the middle as much as I can and see if I can at least dig out the center. Just like that. It looks great. I mean, it smells Smells really nice too. So, I mean, the pan works great. I just didn't set it up right. The next time I'm gonna put in some vegetable oils that doesn't have any flavor in it, just as a lubricant along with my flour. But I think the bottom might be out of commission. It feels really stuck on the bottom.
Bread pudding.
Yeah, she was telling me, oh, we could just fill it with butter. Which, I mean, is not a bad idea, but, you know. Ooh, oh yeah.
What is that?
Ooh, I pulled back my fingernail doing that. That wasn't fun. Glad my hands are clean. Wow, this thing is super, super, super stuck on the bottom. So, ooh, yeah, it's like the whole bottom is like maybe even like a quarter of an inch is like stuck on the bottom like that. So the bread, it's one of the best looking breads I've ever made, but we'll never see it in its full form. I guess that's just the way it works.
It's the first time.
Looks really nice.
Tasted good.
Really delicious flavor. I just ate dinner and I'm not hungry, but I ate that and it's very good. So we'll just call this like an A for effort, but
Can't see your face.
I know. An A for that's going in the video. Nobody gets this far except my mom. So an A for effort, but like a C prep. So this will be the thumbnail right here. All right, it's the next morning, and I just got it in my head that it needs to come out. And for some reason, all of the bread on one side stuck really bad, and the other side didn't really stick at all. I don't know. The instruction manual suggests light oil, so like a neutral oil, like a vegetable oil, like I spray in the bowl when I'm making it. So a neutral oil and flour. So the next one I'm going to make is going to be, I'm going to just spray the thing down, cover it in flour. So it might give it double protection, and hopefully it won't do this again, because this loaf was pretty close to perfect, and this thing is just caked on. It's a shame. It tastes really good too. Even these parts that are stuck here, they taste really good. They have really nice bubbles. It just tastes good. So, lesson learned. This pot's going to be great, but you just got to learn how to work with the pot, I guess, right?